got to really become that unified team that I talked about just with college. It's the same thing, but it's totally different on the national level because often these girls are your competitors. And it didn't matter. For us, we were just all there experiencing the same things, building our connections, and when we actually got to meet, because we do about a month of training camp before, by the time we actually got to meet and we were watching each other swim, we were so involved in each other's races. And for me, I'm someone who does not like to listen to music before I race. I like to be in the moment. I like to be watching to meet, hearing, everything going on, and I get so much motivation from watching other people swim. For example, you guys know who Aaron Pearsall is? I kind of mentioned him earlier, the kind of backstroker. Him and I, the backstroke events were always right before breaststroke, and since he was in the men's event, that was literally like the event before mine. So I would always watch him race, and I just remember like several world championships where he would break a world record, and I'd be like, okay, well, whatever he does, I'll try to do it too. So it's just you get so much positive emotion out of watching other people race. So I love to do that and to have this connection with 26 other girls and watching all of them race and compete. And of course, they're doing amazing. And it's just so inspirational. And for me, when for my 200 breaststroke, that's my favorite event. It always has been. And when I was in high school, I was probably a sophomore, maybe a junior. My coach over in New Jersey pulled me aside after a meet, and I don't know where this came from, but he said, "You're going to be the first woman to go under 220. And I was like, okay, coach, I go like a 240, but thanks. And I kind of pushed it away, and a couple of years later, I came back to that thought, and I said, okay, I want to be the first one to go 220. And slowly, from 227, 226, 225, very gradually, I got to that 220.2, which I did in Beijing, which I didn't expect to go that fast in Beijing. But it wasn't under 220, so I didn't achieve my goal. So the 4 years between Beijing and London, I had that number in my head the whole time. And I never told anyone. I never told my coach that was my goal. He was always yelling things like, "You're going to go 215. Like, okay, coach. I was like, in my head, I'm like, all you need is 219. So it was this really strong internal goal. It was something that fired every day in practice. It drove me to work really hard, and I didn't tell anyone about it because it was a private, personal thing. It made it more special. So in London, in the semifinals, going into it, for me, you guys know how to set up prelim semifinals, and then the next day you swim your finals. So you swim 3 times, and for me, semifinals is so much easier because you're going to have another shot. You're going to have the finals, you're going to worry about the medals then, but for now you get to race with no pressure, and you get to kind of relax and try to swim your best time. So I was really shooting for the 219 on that semifinal race, and I swam a great race. I felt really good. I heard Dave, my coach, whistling like crazy, which is you can hear from across the world. And, it was just overall a great race. So I touched the wall. I'm like, okay, that felt good. Like, tomorrow's going to be great. And I turn around, and I'm like, oh, in my head, hoping I had that 219. I got the world record, but I went a 220.00. And I turned around, and the world record was broken 3 years ago when the super suits were around, and to get the world record back was amazing, but I was like, really? So you have to just laugh at that. I mean, it makes a great story. So, but in my head I was like, okay, this only puts that much more pressure on tomorrow night. So tomorrow night rolls around, we get up onto the blocks of the finals, we're walking out, and I was definitely really nervous, but that's to be expected. And I just remember walking out and thinking in my head, this is the moment. I've trained 4 years, if not 15 years, for this right now, for this 2 minutes and 19 seconds. And this may be my last shot. I don't know. So it was definitely a lot of pressure. I put a lot of pressure on myself, and then I kind of had to say, stop thinking about it. That's it. That's the last time you're going to think about it. Because if you're going through a race and the whole time you're thinking, oh, I have to go 219, I have to go 219, it could be good, but it could also not be good. So I know when I swim, I have to kind of zone out, just feel the rhythm of the water, really connect to what I'm doing as opposed to what I want the outcome to be. So I thought about it before we stepped in the blocks, and then I just cleared my head, did the race. It felt great. There were a couple of my teammates in the water that trained with me at USC that swim for other countries, and the other American girl, Mike Lawrence, who was in there with me. And I was kind of not looking around, but there were people that were really close to me as I'm swimming, and I'm looking, and I'm like, they know like a 2:23, so I really should be a little bit faster than this. I should be out faster, but then I stopped thinking about it. Don't worry, it's swimming on race. So many times throughout that race, I had to tell myself to stop thinking. And that's really important because your body is ready. When you're racing a big race, your body is ready. I promise you, all that training that goes into that moment, you don't have to be thinking about turning your hand out or catching this way or trying to beat that person. You just have to swim your own race. And that's what I did, and when I touched the wall, and even though there were people close to me, it didn't matter. I knew I had won the gold medal, which I was thrilled, but I was so scared to turn around and look at the scoreboard. So I, for a second, kind of looked at the touchpad and said, okay, it's over. Now I just have to turn around and look, and when I looked up, 2:19.5, which was a lot less than I expected to go. So I was so thrilled that my parents were there to share it with me, and they didn't get a chance to come to Beijing. So just looking up and seeing them and seeing my coach, and thinking back to the moment when my coach back in high school told me that you're going to go at 2:19. And that one sentence made it all possible. So really, the moral of that story is to believe in yourself more than anyone else will believe in you, and to really not give up. From Beijing to London, I never had a best time. 4 years without a best time in the 200 breaststroke. And I got close every summer, every big meet in World Championships. I always got kind of close. But even when I felt my best, I couldn't do it. And I'm sure many of you have gone through that too, where you're trying to kind of get into this slump, and if you haven't had it yet, it's going to happen to you. And the best way to get over that is to not think about it. Not think about it. You just want to go through your training, find ways to have fun. Don't think about times, because times don't really matter. And there definitely were days, weeks, months when I just wasn't enjoying it. It's going to happen for all of you guys at some point where everything kind of becomes the same, and you're just slumping into practice, and you're so tired, and there's a million reasons that you don't want to be here. And that's the point when I had to say, but I do want to be here because my friends are here, or I'm excited to do warm-up because that's my favorite part of practice. Whatever it is, find something to be excited for. Be proud of yourself. Little victories mean a lot, whether it's, oh my gosh, I actually finished practice today. It doesn't matter if you went slow, but I tried, and I finished, and I did well, and now I can go take a nap. Or if it's, I just went my best time in practice, and I feel great, or, it doesn't matter what it is, but find something to be proud of yourself for. And, making goals along the way. So there's different levels of goals that you have to make. There's the ultimate goal, the 2:19, and then there's, what do I want to do this summer at nationals or junior nationals or whatever it is, JOs, sectionals, anything. It's like your end goal, or if you want to make a cut. It's like little steps along the way, but you also need the little daily goals. So for me, it was, I want to have a good practice today, or I want to accomplish something else outside the pool, whatever it is. Just giving yourself a pat on the back every now and then for doing something, but always keeping your bigger goals in mind. So that's a little bit of my story, but now I want you guys, if you have any questions, I'd love to hear them and answer them for you guys. It can be anything. Don't be shy. How old was I? I was 21. 21 in Beijing, 25 in
All right, well, that's going to wrap it up. How about a big round of applause?